On this week's World of Saltwater Fishing, get ready for some serious exercising. I'll be at Islamorada in the Florida Keys with Captain Nick Stanzik, and our goal to catch deep water oddities in depths anywhere from 500 feet of water to well over 1,000, and we will be hand cranking them. Don't miss this exciting episode.
George Poveromo's World of Saltwater Fishing. Big fish don't stand a chance.
I call this the Bud Mary's experience, in that not only did I dock the Mark VI at Bud Mary's, one of the most prominent marinas in the entire U.S., if not the world, but also I took advantage of Nick Stanzik's offer to stay in one of their houseboats that they rent out. So in essence, it would be a very convenient trip in that once you wake up, you just walk off the houseboat over to your boat, and you really don't have to leave the property at all.
So I grew up here at Bud Mary's Marina. My dad's owned it since 1978, which is 7 years before I was born.
You know, I've been fishing out of Bud Mary's actually 54 years, which is a long time. Actually, owned it and been running it for the last 44 years. And I'm going to borrow a line from Orson Welles. They asked him one time what he thought about his career in Hollywood, and he loved it so much. Well, I've loved this so much. And the line basically goes like this: I came here, I feel like I bent over to tie my shoes. When I stood up, I was an old man.
Grew up fishing with my uncle Scott Stanzik on the Catch-22 and with my dad. And if it swam, we loved to catch it, whether it was sailfish, tuna, mahi, snapper, grouper. And as the years went on, I started charter fishing myself, running a boat, and then we started sword fishing, and that kind of became the obsession. But I still like fishing for anything.
The goal was to go ahead and catch a number of deep water oddities and hopefully target and catch one of these barrel fish or possibly even a queen snapper. So we were all set to do a lot of hand cranking. It was going to definitely be a workout, but we were game for it. Now, to be totally honest, hand crank deep dropping is not for the faint of heart. It is a ton of work, and you might be wondering, well, why don't you just use like everybody else does out there, electric reels? Electric reels are convenient, and they definitely get the job done, but you somehow missed the sporting aspect of that. And the sporting aspect is actually going one-on-one with these fish, dropping down with conventional style reels, hooking up and fighting your dinner up from maybe over 1,000 feet of water without the help of electrics. How the day started was to hit the blackfin tunas on some of the humps out here first, and then from there we would progress out to the deeper bottom.
This time of year, the blackfin tuna show up pretty good on the humps, and if you can catch the live bait, you can have a lot of fun. You can also jig them, you can troll them, but to have the chance of those big blackfins, which are 20 plus pounds, you gotta have live bait, whether it's cigar minnows, pilchers, ballyhoos.
So, as is usual, Nick is a live bait fishing specialist. We go over to bait patch. Didn't take long to pack both live holes up with cigar minnows. Had more than enough for the live chummy purposes. We moved out to one of the humps and got up current of it, started trickling out some of the cigar minnows. From there, the blackfin started busting up.
He ain't a big one, but he's a blackfin. I don't think you need to gaff him.
Now,
I'll swing him.
I'll move this rod.
Ooh. Okay, ready? I'm gonna swing him right in over the side. Ready? 1, 2, 3. One football force. What a pretty fish there.
All right. Nice cold ice.
Keep one for dinner anyhow.
For sure.
Try to pick out some bigger ones.
These fish will fight the big ones, and the more they run, the longer they stay down there. You just know the sharks are gonna have a field day with it. I know from experience. I hooked up to a blackfin, and this thing was just running like these big blackfins do. I couldn't even budge the fish. I'm trying to gain and whine and crank everything I could do.
Yeah.
The new flagship reel for Penn, the Authority, features a sealed body and spool design that protects the internal components even as submerged. The Authority series sport full metal bodies, side plates and rotors, stainless steel main and pinion gears, 12+1 stainless steel bearing systems, and a sealed slammer drag system with DuraDrag for heavy stopping power. It's Penn's smoothest and strongest spinning reel.
There's a shark.
Yeah.
I could see him down there unless he was chasing the tuna.
Here it comes.
Keep lining, keep lining. It's a tuna and a shark's eating him right there.
Ah,
Keep lining, keep lining, keep lining. Shark's got him in his mouth. Keep lining, keep lining, keep lining, keep lining, keep lining, keep lining. Oh God, he's right on him. Keep lining, keep lining, keep lining. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Big giant, nice big tuna, a big old shark right on him. You got most of them there.
oh, that's a big one.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Hey George, the good news is we got most of the meat on him.
we did.
But that shark is chasing him. Look at that shark right there by the boat. Whew. The sharks are hungry, you guys.
A couple bite marks,
Yeah.
but you know what? We did get most of that. So I'm taking that.
Hey, you got dinner covered.
You know, you're such a tough predicament because when these sharks are here, you got a decent sized tuna. You don't just bring them in the boat like that.
No, you get stuck fighting. That's a 20+ pound fish, 22 pounds, and you get stuck fighting them for 10, 15 minutes, and you just got to hope that you get them up before the sharks get them.
That is beautiful fish.
George's Tackle Locker, brought to you by King Sailfish, the pioneer of catch and release mounts. Visit kingsailfish.com.
Given the release mount concept pioneered by King Sailfish, a lifelike replica of that special catch can be had after turning it free. And it certainly doesn't have to be in the moment either. For example, a replica mount can be had from a memorable fish caught at any point in your fishing history or by a family member. This is a big part of King Sailfish's business. All that's required is a photo of the catch. Just recently, a tarpon was ordered as a Christmas gift for someone who caught the fish in 1969. Another for an amberjack by an angler who caught it off South Florida during the 1970s. And the list goes on, be it inshore, offshore, and even freshwater game fish. I've actually had replicas made well after some catches. One being a permit caught several years ago during a wreck fishing trip with a very close friend when we released 8 fish in about an hour and a half's fishing time. Thanks to King Sailfish mounts, that memory is proudly displayed in my office.
George Poveromo's World of Saltwater Fishing is proudly brought to you by Penn, let the battle begin. Mako, you'll find them where the fish are. Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's, your adventure starts here. Mercury Marine, go boldly. George, we'll be right back.
Hoping to put one more fish in a box to guarantee fresh blackfins to enjoy during a Bud Mary's adventure, I dropped down a Williamson Kentucky jig and got my wish. After this fish, it was off to the deep drop grounds. I'm fishing with Nick Stanzik off Islamorada in the Florida Keys.
I started to see color, Nick.
Yeah, if you got something on there.
Yeah, I do. We'll see you in a minute.
Something on the jig.
Here it comes.
Little blackfin.
Yes, we do on the Kentucky jig.
There you go.
And one more swing around here.
There you go. Look at that football.
Good thing about the jig, makes a good handle too to hang on.
Yep.
You know? All right, going in the box. Got enough blackfin tuna to satisfy us, and we said, all right, this is good. We've got our tuna. We got lucky, we got a real big one through the sharks. Let's get out of here. Let's continue on with our goal. Head out to deep water, watch that SIMRAD machine. Nick started dialing into some of his spots. And this is gonna be the real test. We're going out to this 980 to over 1,000 feet of water. So we get in position over some decent bottom. We send down our baits. Seems like it takes forever to hit bottom, but then boom, that reel stops. You engage the drag, you take maybe half a turn of the reel. And the key here is just try to keep that bait right on that bottom or just a few inches above it. You don't want that current starting to plane it where it's 15, 20 feet above it. You need to fish the bottom and also be aware of reacquiring the bottom to make sure that bait's down there while not snagging. And I felt the tap, the rod got a little bit heavy, and Nick got a tap on his.
Light tackle lessens angler fatigue while heightening the feel of bottom and fish interactions. Reels should hold a minimum of 400 to 500 yards of light braid line. Our reels were Penn Torque 15 and 25 lever drag 2-speed models. Low speed, despite reclaiming line at a slower rate, provides the cranking power and ease to wind up excessive weights and big fish. The lighter the braid, the more line a reel can carry. Light braid also generates minimal resistance during a drop and enhances sensitivity. We spooled with 15-pound and 20-pound test Suffix 832 braid. Light, strong rods heighten the overall deep drop experience. Our reels were paired with 6.5 and 7-foot Penn Carnage 3 models rated for 50 to 100-pound test lines.
George, hand crank deep dropping is not for the faint of heart.
No, but it's good exercise, isn't it?
Yep, we're gonna look like Popeye at the end of today.
You're like a stone crab.
Take some, yeah, one big giant
Yeah,
arm.
if you're right-handed, get the big right hand.
The good news is, I can see my fish too. I think I got a triple header.
Yeah, you did. You tripled up.
There you go.
Another.
There you go, a couple good ones.
Check this out, Nick.
We'll take them, 3 quality ones, right?
I would say so.
There you go, perfect. The triple header.
And these are outstanding dinner fish, sashimi-wise, lightly fried, broiled. They're magnificent, beautiful white meat. So of course, this was going to go to our dinner contribution to Lazy Days. Boom, in the box they went. The same with Nick.
George hooked up, I hooked up, both double it up. Black belly rosefish. They're not big fish, but they're delicious eating. And you know, if you haven't ever had them, you should try them.
And these rosefish were pretty much the prominent fish that we were catching, but we were still looking for bigger things out there.
After a long day, we returned to Bud and Mary's, where we star brighted the Mark VI, cleaned our catch, and in lieu of going out to eat, feasted on the fresh blackfins aboard our houseboat.
Hey, we caught these blackfin tuna, hours earlier off Islamorada, and here we were for dinner in our own little houseboat, enjoying sashimi. Blackfin tuna, Florida Keys, Islamorada. Hardly gets any better.
George Poveromo's World of Saltwater Fishing is proudly brought to you by SIMRAD. Go with SIMRAD and go with confidence. Rapala holds the world record for world records. Suffix, always use the best line. Start, run, store with TRON. George, we'll be right back.
On day 2, we set forth to find our sea monster. We started a bit shallower, which is a relative term in this fishery, and began scoring deep water oddities. I'm fishing with Nick Stanczyk off Islamorada in the Florida Keys.
Nick wanted to start off somewhat shallow first. And it was sort of a reluctant decision in that the shallow spots that he had in his 500, 600 foot range, you had a lot of tile fish. Golden tiles were open, but they closed the blue line tiles down, which would have been probably the most abundant catch working these zones. So, as expected, when we were trying to pull out a grouper here, we ended up catching some blue line tile fish.
Might be the right one, George. You're stealing all the fish before I can get one.
As soon as you got it on the crown of that area there, right on top is where I got it.
Yeah, we slid right
little
over
taps, pulled the rod tip down, wound, came up. You got some weight. Nice relaxed pace, sort of. All I gotta do is hope the circle hook stays, and in about 45 minutes later, you'll see her quarry. Not really that long. We only have a half-hour show. It's a big tile.
Big tile fish, yeah. Nice blue line tile.
Okay.
A nice one for us down here.
You got him?
Oh yeah. On the Bonita strip there. That's a nice tile.
That's what did it, yeah. That feels so good when you get that tap, 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 and when that rod actually gets pulled down and you wind, you know you're solid. It's a great feeling, other than the fact you got to bring up 600, 700 minimum.
All right, let's sequelize them.
All right.
The sequelizer is a descending device used to reverse the effects of barotrauma in fish brought up from deep water. Barotrauma is an expansion of gases in the fish's bladder, which results in bloated bellies, bulging eyes, and distended intestines. The standard sequelizer can be set to release at 50, 100, and 150 feet deep. Descending devices are required by law when fishing for snapper grouper species.
There he is.
Worked though. On to the next spot.
Yes. You know, those muscle cars are really something else, and they're magical and they're fun. But as you get older, you sort of look at that Cadillac and you start to appreciate the Cadillacs a lot more. And where I'm going with this is that last drift. We forego the hand crank deep dropping. We took the Cadillac out for a ride. The Cadillac, in this case, I had a daytime swordfish set up. It was a Penn International 50 with a hooker drive on it. And we were gonna go electric to drop down for our final drift because basically Nick and I, we were worn out at that point.
It was fun hand cranking, but we are worn out and tired. We dropped down the electric and we got a fish on now, so. Just a little to the right. There you go, neutral. We got something good on, I know that. I don't know what it is. We had to do one drop of the electric though. I think it's a barrel fish.
Just stay put, no gear?
Yeah, you're good. He should float up, but sometimes I've had him swim away before. We're getting closer. Yeah, looks like a big old barrel fish, guys. Nice barrel. Yeah, get him right in the head there.
Bring him a little.
Nice barrel fish. We got one, guys.
Yes, we did, Nick.
That was some work, though. I ain't holding that thing, they're slimy.
I know they are.
But he's the right one.
With the electric, here comes what we were trying to get for 2 days, a barrel fish. And it was the beauty at that. We put this fish in the boat, put him on the scale, weighing at 22 pounds. That very last drift was the cap to the show that we were looking to accomplish. And it hit the box. And I'll tell you what, we were ecstatic at that point.
So, I mean, look how mushroom that is. Super hard bottom, just lead doesn't even fit in the rod holder anymore. George, can we go home now?
I was about to ask you the very same thing. Let's go head to the barn.
I'm worn out.
We progressed from the Bud and Mary's experience to the Lazy Days experience. A short walk from our houseboat, we entered the restaurant and gave them some of our fillets. We were seated and soon enjoying an amazing array of appetizers. Lazy Days specializes in cooking anglers' catches. We enjoyed our blackfin, rosies, and barrelfish prepared blackened, almond crusted, and Lazy Days style. After an incredible dinner and short walk back to the houseboat, we retired for the evening.
Mercury Performance Stats, Islamorada, offshore. Seas, 1 to 2 feet. Power, triple Mercury VERADO 400 horsepower outboards. Props, Mercury Inertia Eco 21-inch pitches. Total miles, 172. Consistent cruise, 4,600 RPMs. Speed, 45 miles per hour. Total fuel burned, 164 gallons. We'll be right back. George Poveromo's World of Saltwater Fishing is proudly brought to you by the Florida Keys and Key West. Come as you are. ACR, the leader in marine safety electronics. Papa's Pilar Artesian Crafted Rum. Never a spectator. VMC, your expert in hooks. King Sailfish, the pioneer of catch and release mounts. Visit kingsailfish.com.
Bud and Mary's included, the Florida Keys is steep in history. One Islamorada attraction worth spending a couple hours at is the Florida Keys History and Discovery Center adjacent to the Islander Resort. Executive Director Bonnie Barnes summarizes what visitors can expect to see and learn.
We have history clear back to the Indians and the wreckers and all of the communities in the Upper Keys, and we have so much history to share. Our fishing exhibits, our rotating exhibits, all of these wonderful things that entertain and engage people of all ages.
With a quick tour, we get a feel for what the museum has to offer.
So the History and Discovery Center kind of bases its knowledge on the Upper Keys. We have incredible museums and life down in Key West. We want to cover the Upper Keys. We want it to be inclusive of everyone in all walks of life.
Well, the trip has to draw to a close, and you sort of hate that to happen, but the Bud and Mary's experience, this chapter closed for this episode. And fishing with Nick Stanczyk, I've watched him come up, and what I appreciate more about Nick than him being a totally incredible angler and a pioneer of a lot of these fisheries out here is that he's got a good head on his shoulders. He's very business driven, straight shooter, and just pretty much a gentleman all the way around. I like him as an individual probably even more than I liked him or respect him as an angler.
So we fished 2 days here, mostly hand crank deep dropping. It was a lot of work. It wasn't easy. We bounced around. We caught plenty of fish by the end of day 2 and had a nice variety. Had black belly rosefish, let go tilefish, had a big barrelfish, had a couple mahi, had a handful of tuna, and all in all, a great couple of days of fishing. So if you guys want to come down here to Bud and Mary's, there's 45 charter boats here. There's a head boat. There's over a dozen lodging options. Come down here, hang out in the Florida Keys, and go fishing with us.
If you want to keep track of our fishing adventures, we welcome you to follow us on our social media. I'm on Facebook at facebook.com/George.Poveromo. I'm on Instagram at George Poveromo. And you can see our shows in 4K broadcast quality on YouTube at my YouTube channel, which is George Poveromo TV. Jump aboard and ride along with us.